What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 136 of Behind the Toolbelt with TC Backer Construction.
Behind the Toolbelt is sponsored by Lead Scout. Find out more at leadscoutapp.com.
TC Backer Construction family, welcome, man. Hopefully everyone is enjoying the beautiful weather here in South Central Pennsylvania. We're gonna get a pretty hot one tomorrow, so hopefully all my exterior contractors are ready to rock and roll with water for their guys. And it's been a great week, man. We got a great guest on today, Mr. Jonathan Sherwood. How are you doing, Jonathan?
Not too bad, Chris and Ty. It's super hot in Texas, so whatever you get tomorrow is not going to be what we got going on down here in Satan's Angels. So
I can only imagine.
Yeah, dude, I'm not envious of that, man. Talk to me in like December, and then I'll be a little bit envious. But right now, I'm not envious at all.
Seriously, man. Seriously. Speaking of Texas, I think did you speak or MC at the the Storm Restoration Conference in Texas this year or last year?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I thought so. Glenn and I saw you down there, man. You did a great job, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, in between all the other speakers and stuff like that. That was a great show too. I liked how intimate it was. Not that it was small, but it was like direct and to the point. Like what I got out of it, what I needed to get out of it. There wasn't a bunch of bells and whistles, and it was just straight and to the point. And it was just that was my first one, so that was good. April Hall, she did a great job.
Yeah, April Hall is great, and her conferences are great. It seems to be a little bit more intimate, like you said. And one of the good things about that is it's easy to absorb and then plug it into your business. And sometimes the big ones are great. It's awesome to see the fireworks in the show, and I love them all. But it's like sometimes I just want to go get something that I can immediately apply to the business to help me scale.
Yes, and that's exactly how that was. I felt that's exactly like there's just too much like going on. Not that I love RoofCon. I mean, RoofCon, that's great, and I get a lot out of that. And we're actually, I think, going to have a pretty big presence down there this year with Behind the Toolbelt ourselves. But it's April Hall definitely going to make that like a yearly thing for us, because that was just good stuff, man. It was quieter, it was to the point, and we got a shit ton out of it. I know Glenn and I brought a bunch back to our team after that one, so that was a good one. But so anyhow, man, why don't you? I feel like. I've saw you a couple times. I think the first time I got to actually hear you speak was out at When the Storm, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. I think you won an award or something was going on there. And I think we heard you speak with Roofers in Recovery last year at RoofCon. So a couple times I've had the pleasure to listen to you, but not personally speak to you. So I'm really looking forward to maybe listening to some of your backstory, man. If you don't mind telling us what it was like, how you got here and what it's like now, man, if you don't mind. I mean, you can give us the sugar-coated version or go as deep as far out in the weeds as you want, bro.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll give you a little bit of backstory, and then you can draw as much as you like. I'm pretty transparent. What you see is what you get. A little rough around the edges, but I'm always trying to do the right thing. So I got no problem, just kind of getting down to it and getting the brass tacks. So grew up in organized crime, father nowhere to be found, mother struggling with addiction and everything that comes along with that. Obviously, no father figure, run to the streets. That ended up just kind of snowballing into the organized crime syndicate lifestyle. Was supposed to end up in prison, dead, everything that goes along with that. Didn't end up that because I wouldn't be sitting here today. Did a few stints and lost a little bit of freedom from here to there, but nothing compared to what I should have done. In that, had addiction to heroin, pretty much actually any drug you could possibly think of, and women, and violence. If I wasn't fighting, if I wasn't fucking, then I was doing drugs. And in the midst of all that, we were making money all the time, and we were making money the wrong way. That had to come to an end, or it was going to be doing that in prison minus the women. So that would have really sucked at that point. So, well, ended up fast forward a little bit, and I had a friend, and he came to me and he said, "Hey, listen, man," he's like, "if you can stay sober," he's like, "and if you can stay sober," he goes, "you're the greatest salesman in shoe leather that I've ever met. What do you think about a roofing company?" He's talking to a guy that had cornrows down to his back, driving SUVs on 24-inch rims, moving product everywhere. And I'm thinking, I think you're crazy. I was like, what? Why would I do that? I was out of options at this point in time. And he's like, well, I saved up $15,000 in unemployment money, and we can use that money to get a little truck and to get some business cards, and we'll start in the basement. I'm like, well, I don't want to go to prison, and I don't know what else there is to do. Okay, let's give this thing a shot. He sends me out to Eastern Colorado to go work some old storm damage. I start knocking some damage. It was 3 years old or so. Nobody wants anything to do with me. 24-inch rims, hair down the back of my shoulders. I'm like, okay, we got to make some changes. We got to get the truck you're talking about. We got to get the rims off this car and use it just to kind of take canisters. I got to cut my hair. So did all that type of stuff, started knocking, and then saw, you could file insurance claims based off of collateral damage to the existing system. And I saw that it could be very lucrative. So ended up doing it, and then actually pouring a lot of time and energy into learning about what I was actually doing and know my craft, because I really didn't know anything about roofer, just like everybody else who goes out there, regardless of what they say. I was just, filing claims and saying, yeah, you're going to get a roof and it's going to be great. It's going to cost you nothing. We're going to do all this stuff. Just sign here and let's make a phone call. So, I was going through that dog and pony show, and I saw how lucrative it can be, and started putting a lot of time and energy in that. And then like the hustler in me, kind of came out of that. And we ended up building that roofing company. I was reading Forbes magazine. It said, Forbes magazine said small businesses stay lean and mean. So I kept it in my basement for years. Every time I had more capital, I'd buy another late model F-150. I'd put a partial wrap on it for $800. I'd throw a sales guy in it. I'd take care of his stuff. And I made it look like I had this big company because I had this big fleet, and I would just rock through the storms in Denver. After I did that, I attacked the commercial for a little while. And then I really focused on branding the company, put it in a storefront. And then September of 2016, I sold it to the regional operations manager, John Manzo. So that was the first big wins for us in the actual roofing. During that time, keep it straight, I was still struggling with alcoholism. I'd gotten done with the heroin. I wasn't dealing drugs, but I just was bound by the bottle and really struggling with women. And I thought, hey, if I'm not a drug dealer anymore and I'm not using heroin, I'm not using illicit narcotics, then I won. Things are great. What I didn't realize is when I stopped doing that stuff, it revealed all the character defects from the life of crime and everything, the codependency and everything that I had grown up in. So now here I am, this broken man, successful in my eyes for what I thought was success at that point in time, but didn't know how to communicate with people. Everything was anger, couldn't have a significant other. Always wanted to fight, couldn't do intimacy, couldn't be vulnerable. I was just a real mess. So that went on for a while till I got so miserable. I was like, okay, I really got to dive in and focus on myself. So it took a bunch of behavioral therapy because I had to rewire my brain on how to deal with emotions, how to process them, how to act. And people used to make fun of me because I had this cognitive behavioral therapist, and I really hated the guy. He sucked, but he was really good at what he did. Like, I'd never be his friend because he was just a douche, but he was really good at what he did. So I'd have these papers, and they'd have 3 boxes on them and then 4 lines. And the box would be like, what happened? So let's use road rage. Somebody cut me off. Oh, somebody cut me off. What's the next thing you want to do? I want to fuck them up. Okay. Wrote that out. If you fuck them up, what happens? If I fuck them up, I go back to jail. And then the lines would say, now that you've processed those 3 columns, what are you going to do? I'm not going to fuck him up. I need to stop behaving like that. I don't want to go to jail. And then put it in the folders. And every week we had to go over them, right? So I'm coming in the first few years with these packets to the point where, like, I'm working this development company in Texas, and I'll get to that here in a second. And like something would happen, like, go fill out a form. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. But it completely changed my life. It inspired my thinking, and now that's how I think, right? So it's kind of funny, so I want to tell that story. But so I built the business. I had already been going back and forth between Dallas, Texas, and Colorado. Why? Texas, #1 collateral damage state, flat roofs all over the place, high pressure fluid guy, commercial guy. And I wanted to be a gun for hire. I ended up getting connected to a development company, smaller development company, did commercial development, residential development, but not any of the roofing portion of it. They connect with me. They say, hey, look, we've been looking for something like you. I get in there. Over a year and a half, we turn that company in the top 150 roofing companies, and it really blows up. The commercial division is going through the roof. I get the vice president's chair. I get the president's chair, and then I'm sitting there going, I don't want to own the roofing company, and this is just like it. And I already sold one. I just want to be a gun for hire. I give them the sad news that I'm just going to kind of do my thing and be a freelance consultant. I had a real heart and passion for the industry because of my story and redemption, because I had changed my life. I did a lot of keynote speaking, a lot of panels, and I just really started helping people. People just started tagging me, roofers helping roofers. They call me, they show me on FaceTime what's going on. I give them some insight, maybe throw them a sub. Maybe I'd come out and help them out. Then they start putting me on big roofs and saying, hey, what size shirt are you? I'd put on their shirt. I'd help them with the project procurement. And then they say, can you get it done? I'd help them with the fulfillment. Well, what happened at that point in time is now you have this guy who was no longer bound by anger, could actually process some emotions without having to get a clipboard out and fill out a piece of paper. Basically became a glorified broker because I didn't own a roofing company. I walked away from a really good job. So I didn't have a control over everything. So I just was this broker of roofing, right? It's like I got a couple people that do the high pressure fluids. I'm doing roofs all over the nation, but I had branded myself, and in the branding myself, I was my brand. So I didn't have any room for the margin of error. Well, it got so big, I'm like, man, I really need to have control over this. So what did I do? I did the one thing I said never do again. I opened another roofing company, this time national, high pressure fluid and commercial. So now we got Surefire Seamless Systems. The Roofers Helping Roofers is taking off. And I had to tackle that one last thing that we had talked about, and that was I was still bound by the alcoholism. So sobriety date is June 8th of 2020. Connected with the guys from Roofers in Recovery and really got on that AA program, and then finally got over that last hurdle. And when that last hurdle happened and I was able to turn my back on some of those things that had me bound for majority of my life, that's when really the career just took off. The speaking career, the Roofers Helping Roofers became a coaching and consulting platform that opened up the playbook for commercial. I paid so much dumb tax, I just failed my way to success. That's really what happened. So if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I got a GED in jail, so I'm not the smartest guy on the ball. So we get rocking, and people are just calling me. We're doing quick day startups and working with people for a year long, and companies are blowing up. Our company is blowing up, and just kind of got what you see here today.
What a fucking great story,
yeah,
man.
It was.
I have so many things that I want to comment on
Me
right
too,
now.
and I didn't want to cut you off at all. I laugh because I didn't want you to think I was trying to cut you off. I wanted you to keep going, bro.
Yeah, that's great, dude.
Yeah,
that's great.
so,
how many people do we have on here? And I don't even want to say just have on here, but how many people in our industry start off with that same typical type story? Like, look, I was a fucking knucklehead, which, by the way, for the record, Jonathan, I also graduated from jail. There's no shame in the game, man. And if I had to go back and change anything, I wouldn't change a fucking thing. No, because all that shit, all that hardship, all the pain, and all the stupid shit that I put my parents and my loved ones through, it made me the man that I am today. And now I know where I don't want to be again.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, and I think that kind of gives us a little bit of an advantage over some people. You know what I mean? Because we've been in the gutter, man. We've been down for the super lows that, you know, some people can't even comprehend. Seriously. Or would even look at someone like you. You know what I mean? Like, if I wouldn't have heard that story, I would never look at you as somebody that came from something like that. You know what I mean? So number one, never judge a book by its cover.
Right.
And number two, it's never too late, man. It's never too late to get your head out of your fucking ass and be something. Seriously.
I want to hear more about this Roofers Helping Roofers, man. So how did that come about, and what is it about?
Sure. You know, and that's a great question, because I get two questions everywhere I go. Doesn't matter where I go. It's, what the heck is Roofers Helping Roofers? And how do I get into commercial now that I'm in front of you? Those are the two questions I get everywhere that I go. So the Roofers Helping Roofers, it was really just me trying to give back. Part of my recovery was helping other people. So in the industry, I met a lot of people that I could help with my story, but I also met a lot of people that I could just be transparent with. And let's just face it, business is stealing shamelessly and putting your own twist on it. Not have so much pride and so much ego, because I'm just not that damn important, to just give away what was given to me. And that's why you see all my videos and the content is of value, and it's free. I don't charge for any of it, and I just document what I'm doing and I give it away. So in that, people would ask me, and I would FaceTime with them. I would get on roofs with them. They started hashtagging me Roofers Helping Roofers. And then before I know it, I'm like, man, I should probably trademark this. This is getting like becoming something. I never had a plan for Roofers Helping Roofers at all, completely organic. Well, in that, I just started receiving so many Facebook messengers and so much response to my social media. Can you look at this roof for me? Can you look at this roof for me? Can you look at this roof for me? So I just started picking and choosing what I wanted to look at. If I couldn't help them, I'd set them up with somebody in their marketplace. I still answer their questions. I would just give and give and give freely. And then if I could help them, I'd help them to procure the contract, and then I'd help them. So obviously in selling the deal, and then I'd help fulfill the deal. And then in order for that to work, I had to understand that I had to leave the meat on the bone for the other contractor. There was no Roofers Helping Roofers. So as I was quantifying millions of square footage, I just did what I do really good and hustled a lot of manufacturers until I got that number down real low. And so I would make the least per deal, but I was doing millions of square feet. So it made sense in the quantification of what I was actually doing. And then it was the guys that were working with me were making more money than me, so they're happy. All my trucks and stuff were on logos, so I'd advertise them, and then I'd make videos with them and use their logos and stuff. So my whole niche was about the other roofer, and it kept going. Well, once that had gone on solid for a little while, I was like, man, I should just take everything that I'm doing and put it into an actual program. And then we started the Roofers Helping Roofers coaching and consulting platform, where they pay for a year. They get a full day of a quick start where we go over know your client, know your craft, set expectations, and slow down. Basically, my entire book of business, from multifamily to HOA boards, to property management companies, to standalone owner-operated businesses, whether it's dry cleaners, car washes, dental or chiropractic practices, restaurants, to other roofing contractors, so a subcontracting model, to investors, and how I target each one of them, how I market to them differently, and how I get them to sign on the dotted line. So we spend the first half of the day doing that. Then there's strategic social media marketing, because obviously you see I do a little bit of that. And then we unlock the file vault, all my commercial contracts, all my marketing propaganda, all my maintenance contracts, every document I've procured and built with attorney stuff over the years, and basically just give it all to them. Also bring in manufacturers, get them certified, and then they have access to me for the entire year. Any questions, anything that they want to send to me. Some people use me to do some of their commercial work. Some people don't use me to do some of their commercial work, but they use me within the platform. Here's the cool thing though. So in the beginning, you know, my ego's in there. I'm like, man, you are giving away everything, and you are just giving it away to your competition. You're getting on the roof with all these guys, and they'll call you for a few things, but they're not going to need you. So I really had to learn to settle with what I was speaking about. Like, hey, we're going to give it away, and it's going to work. You listen to Gary Vee. He's got way more money than you. Shut up. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and do this thing. Well, here's what ends up happening, right? I start giving it away, and I start having fun with it. I just start celebrating people's wins. I'm making them trophies that they do $1 million with me. I'm taking them out. They start doing their own stuff. Pretty soon they're buying phone rings and opening their own co-division. I'm like, well, I'm obsolete for those guys. And here's what ends up happening, right? Here's a great case study. Win the Storm. They have a top growth award. One of the people that I worked with, it was in Fort Worth. It was Select Construction. Amazing guys. Love those guys. These guys, when I started, were small residential, but they were good at getting commercial opportunities. Didn't know anything about it yet, but they could get you on the roofs. They just knew a lot of people. I start helping them sell some jobs. They're doing some decent sized jobs, anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000 square feet. They sell a few of those. They get another office. They're doing real good in their residential. They're doing good in their commercial. They buy a foam ring. They end up winning the top growth award. They get on stage and they say, we're at where we're at today because Jonathan Sherwood helped us. They stopped using me. But what happened after that? Ding, ding, ding. Hey, I know those guys. I know those guys. And that's what happens. As soon as the other person is done and they've stole shamelessly and they've moved on, there's just another person that I can duplicate myself within. But it wasn't until I got over myself that could even really happen. And it's just been really awesome to watch this thing. So in answer to your question, it is a commercial coaching and consulting platform that opens up the complete playbook to commercial to alleviate the client to pay the dumb tax to scale for only the cost of having me, and then also offers project procurement and fulfillment. And what it does is there's some people that don't do the entire coaching and just use me for project procurement and fulfillment.
Okay. Well, cool.
Very cool,
I would have never even thought any of that. I mean, that's definitely a different niche, I think. I mean, I don't know of too many people that are actually doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a new one for me, like straight up. And you've probably have been doing it for a while now. And unfortunately, this is the first that I'm getting caught up on this. But when you were speaking, what kept going through my mind is how humbling this must have been for you, because if you're anything like I am, and it really sounds like you've told 3/4 of my story here, with the ego and the pride and things like that, and how often I've allowed that to get in the way and screwed things up. But it sounds like you were able to slow things down long enough and to humble yourself and allow this thing to unfold. And like you said, start to have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, dude, that is so hard. Even within a small business of, like we have a small business, right? We have a small roofing company here, and to humble yourself enough to be able to surround yourself around people who are smarter than you. It's kind of like the same concept, and not get in the way of that and screw that up, and know what I'm good at and know what they're good at, and know that and feel that, and not allow to get your ego in the way. And we all know what ego means. It's edging God out. And it's like the second, and some days I have good days, some days I have bad days. And it really comes back to how I'm taking care of myself personally on a daily basis and stuff like that. But dude, that's fantastic. And I see you all over Facebook, dude. Like I've been following you for, I would say at least, I think probably the first time that I saw you at Wind and Storm a few years ago, Jana went with me down to, I think that was Louisiana, where that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, a while back.
Yeah, it was a while back. So that's when we first caught wind of you and Anthony and all those guys like that. And but dude, that is your story is so incredible. And like Chris was saying, a lot of our stories are like that. And it's like, thank God roofing found us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because dude, I couldn't. Where else am I going to go? Where else was I going to go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that negative energy that you were out hustling, and I tell people, I haven't said this for a while, but I used to tell people, it's like all of that negative energy, that hustle, that chuck and jive that I had, but I used it towards a lot of negative things in my life. But what I did today is I was able to turn that into a positive, that energy, that hustle, that chuck and jive, in a positive way to get where we're at today. You know what I mean? Like I don't use it in a negative way anymore. I use it in a positive way to impact people's lives. And that's really what for the past several years is been our biggest goal is, between leadership and grooming the future leadership that is below us, and having an impact on their lives, and having a dream big enough so their dreams can also fit in that dream.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so good stuff to you too, man. I really enjoy this.
I appreciate it. You know what I like about it too is, the roofing industry sometimes gets a bad rap, right? Guys that struggle with addiction or have some issues, but choose the reality of it. That shit is going on everywhere, right? They just like to hone in on it in the roofing industry. But the reality of it is, in the roofing industry, I have met some of my best friends, and I have met some of the most incredible people in this industry. And where can you go and make life-changing money without going to school like that, without going through all these different hurdles? All you got to do is hard work. I tell people all the time, your education is great, and I admire that you had the tenacity to do it. Not my thing, but nothing beats hard work. Nothing. Doesn't matter what you got. If you're willing to grind, you're going to be successful. You just got to grind.
Yeah. And you can afford to pay the dumb tax.
Yeah.
in this, and at least from my experience, dude, and I still pay dumb tax because of ego, usually because of ego or fear. I'm afraid to ask somebody, yo, I need some help, or hey, how do you do this? Because I don't want everybody to know that I'm just a dumb that knows how to hustle. That's it. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not the smartest dude in this room, but there ain't a motherfucker out there that's going to outwork me. And that's where we got where we're at today.
Yeah.
You know?
We're on the grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Jonathan, I got a question for you, man. Throughout this, when did you say it was 2016 when you first decided you were going to open up a roofing industry or a roofing company?
No, I opened my roofing company in April of 2009, and I sold it with my partner to the regional operations manager of John Mansville in September of 2016.
Okay, got you. So from 2009 until now, we could consider you an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
During that time, man, what was the lowest point in your career, and what did you do to overcome it and not give up?
The lowest point in my career is when I lost my marriage from the drinking and just from the behavior that I displayed that went along with that, and not being willing to work on myself. It was, if you looked at me from the outside, I had everything together. But the reality of it is I just was not willing to deal with the character defects and all the pain and all the hurts inside. I thought because I wasn't selling drugs, because I wasn't going to prison, because I was legal now, because I had a wife and a thriving business and a beautiful home, that I had it all together, but I was just broken. And I wasn't ready to be honest with myself, let alone anyone else. And when I lost my wife, or ex-wife would be now, I just went in a really bad downhill spiral and spent all the money, and I almost lost the business. And I literally had to decide to get help, and really get help. And that took me having to be honest with myself and everybody else. And when I did that, that hustler came out in me, and I just started grinding again. I brought it all back up, but I really had to get help. And that help took years. Years to get through all that stuff. So my lowest point is when I lost everything, because I was a liar. And it wasn't until I started getting honest that I was able to come through that.
Yeah. So you said, you thought that you had made it, you had all the money, you had everything that you thought was going to lead you to that happiness at the end of the road. You know what I mean? And shout out Gary V. I picked up that you follow Gary V. I see in all his videos all the time, he's always mentioning how some of the most unhappy people are some of the richest people that he knows. So that just goes to show you, man, that money ain't going to buy that happiness. It can help. It can help in some situations, in some things, but true inner peace and happiness does not come. There's not a dollar sign on that, man. There's no magic number in your bank account that's going to be like, you're going to wake up happy every day. So that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
What was your highest point? Your most accomplished point, or what was the proudest moment of your career?
I think it's probably currently, right. It's been really good right now, and not necessarily just because of some of the stuff, but I mean, we've accomplished some really high profile projects. I can't really disclose. We're getting in the midst of to start them, but big, well-known malls and resorts, things of that nature. So that was awesome. But it was the fact that for me, it was always grind, right? Grind. How much can I get done? How big can we get? How many people can I help? And I think as I've gotten sober over the last 2 years, I started maturing a lot more. I was I'm just shooting it straight. I was very immature. When you don't have a childhood and you don't have all that stuff, you're just a damn clown sometimes. I don't mean that in just being silly, but I just mean in general, like some of my mentality and some of my experiences, I was experiencing stuff like I was in my early 20s and I'm 40 years old. Well, as I got sober and I said, okay, I really want to be intentional with helping other people, with being there for my kids, and with not being so focused on success as monetary, but success as who I am as a boyfriend, who I am as a father, who I am in my community, who I am in the industry, who I am in the nation, and who I am even in the world. And I started pumping the brakes on how hard I was working and being more intentional. And when I did that, the way I was living my life was making changes in other people's life, and I didn't even have to open my mouth. And why that was happening, work was coming in and projects were coming in that I would have never dreamed of, and they were just laying down. And I'm kind of like in that season right now where jobs that I would like, how am I doing this job, are just laying down. And the meanwhile, my 22-year-old daughter, who really didn't have a father, even though I was there because I really wasn't there, is I never connect with, is around me all the time and changing her life based off the way I live my life. And my son who's 3 years old, sees me all the time, and like I'm a superhero to him. And I got a girl who thinks I'm an amazing man, and I'm watching all these men just come up and call me and go to lunch. I think I'm going there for the industry. I think I'm going there to help a commercial, and they're just being honest with me. My marriage is failing. This is happening. Great example. I won't say the guy's name, but this was wild. So I did a podcast with Diego Dante when he was the Rise Above show before he moved over to the Carolinas Roofing Company, Roofers LLC. Great guy. I love that guy. So we were talking in there, and I just, telling my story a little bit. Well, I go to speak at this conference in Myrtle Beach, and this guy calls me. He's like, "Hey, I know you don't know me. I know you're going to Myrtle Beach. I'm going to ask you something really crazy. Do you think you will just come stay at my beach house with me the one night you're in town?" And I'm like, he's like, "If not, that's okay, because I know that's a lot. And a lot of things are going. I'm walking on this airplane. A lot of things are going through my head. Right?
You're about to get murdered or something,
right?"
Old John's like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
And then the new John's like, "Process it. Where's the shit?" It's like, okay. So I'm like, I feel good about it. I got peace with it. So I'm like, yeah, man, I'll do it. So I'm thinking for sure this guy wants to pick my brain about commercial. I get to the airport. He's like, "Cancel your Uber." He picks me up. He gets me there. Short trip. I go there. I get on stage. I get done. I'm like, "Hey, let's cut out early because I got to hop back on a flight." He takes me to dinner. Talked a lot about some work type stuff, but not really the way I thought it was going to go. We get back to the place. I'm super beautiful beach house. I'm super tired. He's like, "Your room's upstairs. You have everything." I go up there. I go to sleep. I get up in the morning and the guy's already up. And he's sitting there at the table, and he's like, "Hey, man, I got to tell you something. The reason why I wanted to meet with you." He's like, "You don't know me, and my marriage was falling apart, and my life was falling apart. And hundreds of miles away, I was on a treadmill, and I watched your podcast, and I took it downstairs to my wife, and we started crying. I said, if this guy can do it, I can do it. And I did some of the stuff that you said on it, and I started dealing with my cognitive behavioral therapy and the stuff that you mentioned. And I'm finally happy for once that my marriage has been restored. And I just wanted to tell you that."
Wow.
I was like trying to hold it together, right? I was just like, telling me that, and I like almost cried. And I was like, wow. And that's when I realized, like, man, your life, John, is just, you can help people just by being real.
Yeah.
Just be who you are, and just pour it out there. And just like you're documenting what you're doing with your videos and stuff, do that with your life. Tell them where you messed up. Tell them your experience, strength, and hope. And I'm just being super intentional on trying to make sure that I fulfill the purpose on my life.
Right on, man.
That's awesome, dude. That's really awesome.
It's going good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All people are looking for, man, is just to know that somebody gives a shit about them, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the 5 things that Ed Milet says? People just want to know that you care about them, that you're there for them, that you love them.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's people want happiness, man. And happiness is not a dollar sign. It's a simple hold the door for somebody. Are you the guy that picks the trash up when you walk by and no one's looking? Do you take your cart back to the cart return, or do you leave it next to the fucking in the empty parking space beside you? Just small little things that you can do that you just build on, man. And that's fucking awesome. I immediately, I didn't know where you were going with that story, but I can be honest with you. I don't know that I would have went to some stranger's fucking beach house, because I don't know if I would have ended up with the fishes, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
a lot of stuff went through my head.
Yeah, for sure.
The background I did, I'm like, you don't do that. A guy like me doesn't do that.
Right.
But I felt peace about it. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah.
Right on, man. It was very inspirational for sure, that story. And it's like, Chris, we've talked about it before. We have no idea the impact that we have on people's lives or who's watching. You know what I mean? It's like it comes out of the woodwork sometimes. Like, holy shit, we didn't realize that our impact went that far. Because like you said, the dudes across the country or whatever, across state was watching your video and that you impacted him and you had no clue. And realistically, during that video, you were probably, yes, trying to make an impact on somebody's life, but also listening to yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we got to talk and share things. And as we're sharing things, we're actually listening to ourselves, reminding ourselves these are the things that we have to do on a day-to-day basis if we want to keep our shit together and be the human being that we are today. So we can intermix with those normal people out there in society. I had to seek outside help as well. And do little sheets like you're talking about, things like that, to really dissect, like, how does Ty work? How does Ty's mind operate? Yeah. And learned to not be so compulsive. You know what I mean? I guess is the best word that I can come up with, because I used to make a lot of knee-jerk reactions and say a lot of stupid things. And I've been able to slow down for like 3 seconds and just think, okay, all right, that's really dumb if I say that. And we talk about this a lot too. It's like, and we can make any situation as bad as we want, or we can make it as good as we want, really. And there's a lot of times that I've just made blown situations so far out of proportion, where if I would have probably just kept my mouth shut or handled it differently, that it would have turned out so much better. And we're talking about Ed Milet here. He talks a lot about how things don't happen to us, but it happens for us, to look for the opportunity in that. And when I start thinking like that, okay, like when I'm doing everything that I need to do and I'm feeling pretty spiritual and things are going up here pretty smooth, and I start looking for the opportunity in things, even though I might think it's pretty bad, the situation that we're in, or it's an inconvenience or whatever. If I can start looking for the opportunity, like, okay, what opportunity has been presented to me in this? When I can start thinking like that, like, dude, it opens up like so much things, more opportunity. I mean, it really does. And I just recently, because I read Ed's book, I don't know.
One More, isn't it called One More? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like a month ago, like when it came out. So I really started to like listen to what he was saying. Not that I haven't listened to him before, but like that book, especially like after like chapter 14, like from 14 to chapter 20, it really started to speak to me. And, about impact and legacy and things that he learned from his father, because his father was a recovering alcoholic, and just those things that we go through. And unfortunately, we've had to go through every single thing that we've gone through to be the people that we are today, unfortunately. And hopefully there wasn't too much wreckage from our past that we had to clean up to get where we're at today. So,
yeah. Any of the viewers that are in here right now, if you guys have any kind of questions for Jonathan, because I mean, this man has an amazing story, and I'm sure he's an open book. If you guys have anything that you want to put in there, ask us, ask him. We can pin any of that kind of stuff up on the feed so he can see it. And feel free, guys. If you guys want to put a question in there, just throw it in there.
Absolutely.
But nah, man, that's good. And just to speak on what you were saying, Ty, to be intentional and be that person and have to constantly remind yourself, guys, it's hard. It's so hard, especially, when it's number one, it's hard to find opportunity when you're in the middle of a shitstorm. It's really hard to look at why is this happening for me, not to me? Like what's the opportunity here to pull a positive out of this? Sometimes it's really hard to see that, man. And it's hard to stay consistent. It's really hard to stay consistent. And I'll even go as much to say that it might be even a bit harder when everything's going great. You know what I mean? Because when shit's going good, it's like, I don't need to keep working on this. I'm here. It's hard to not get complacent sometimes, man.
For real.
It really is. And especially when you have demanding careers, it's hard to go home and be intentional and know that you got to put your phone down. I mean, Jonathan, I'm sure you can feel this when I say, like, when you're in it, your phone never really goes off. It never turns off. You know what I mean? It's very hard for me to go home at the end of the night and not take that phone call at 7:00.
Oh yeah.
It's hard. You know what I mean?
What am I going to miss?
Yeah, exactly. And I know, I got two kids at home that are young. I mean, I have 4 kids total, but the older ones they don't really want my attention very much anymore. I'm kind of old news now, but the young ones, man, it's all they want is 10 minutes of my time. You know what I mean? All my son wants is to, the other day I get home, here's a perfect example. I get home and dude, he wants so bad to go out in the garden and pull weeds. He calls it his summer job. He wants a summer job. He's 6. And him and Kennedy are like, we want to go out and have our summer job and pull weeds. And it's like, my first initial reaction was like, man, I'm not done working. Like I got emails to answer. I still got guys out in the field working. But I had to literally force myself to be like, you know what, put your fucking phone down on the desk and go out there for a second and let him pick weeds. I mean, lasted 10 minutes.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they even went out ahead of me for 10 minutes until I actually got my head out of my ass and was like, dude, don't sit down right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's just it's little things that it's so hard sometimes to be intentional at home. And it's very hard. And I get it for anyone out there that runs their own business or, cause there's no days off, especially somebody that just starts a business up, man. There's no days off. There's no time off. You're working 17, 18 hours a day because when you first start a business, man, you're the guy in the field, you're the fucking accounts receivable, you're the accounts payable, you're everything.
It's called the CEO, the chief everything officer.
Exactly. And it's very hard to mix in that intentional family time and put that thing off. And remember when we were down at RoofCon, man, and I don't remember the guy's name, but he was a speaker up there and he was like, when I get home, I leave my phone in the truck. And I remember looking at you, Ty, and I'm like, bro, I can never do that.
I think we both looked at each other like, what?
I could never do that, man. No way. This guy's crazy. But
yeah,
he's figured out what works for him, and it probably took a little bit of an adjustment period. But you know what? The people that are around him in his professional life probably understand that. And they probably envy the fact that he's strong enough to put his foot down and be like, you know what, this is my fucking family time, man, and I'm not going to miss it. That email, we were just talking about this the other day, and an email comes in from a homeowner or something like that at 8:00 at night. What the fuck are you going to do about it right now? Yeah. Like realistically, what are you going to do to fix a problem
Nothing
that happened at a job site today at 8:00 at night? What are you going to do?
Yeah. See, but what that guy didn't tell you is he keeps his Apple Watch on until he's in bed. He's like on Star Trek. Yeah, I got that, dude. I'm just kidding. That's I got mad respect for that guy though, because like I have alarms in my phone. Stop work now. I do. Yeah. I have alarms in my phone, and sometimes it's really, really hard. And I'm like, I can always find a reason to tell myself, but you have to. So for that guy to leave in the truck, man, I'd probably be sneaking out there looking through the window to see what the notifications say. So
I wouldn't too. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I couldn't do that, and still haven't been able to do that. But there is a balance. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like I strongly feel this way. I think there's the problem with the world today is I think everybody's looking for that out, like that easy, like that this work-life balance thing. And it's like, unfortunately, yes. And that's why I think a lot of the older generation, if you listen to Eric O talk, he talks a lot about being intentional, right? Okay. Because there is that intentional 10 minutes. That's all they want is that 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Put your phone down for 30 minutes when you get home. And honestly, that's probably 20 minutes too much. You know what I mean? Like Jana, if I can walk home and Jana's been missing me all day, if I can put my phone down for 10 minutes, that's all she goes and does her thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She just wants that initial attention. Okay. And if there's a couple emails that I got to fire back, because sometimes, let's face it, at night, I can think more clearly when all the distraction and the noise is calmed down a little bit, where I can actually fire off that email that I've sat on for about an hour and didn't give them my knee-jerk reaction to that email, right? So I need that hour or two to actually fire back and pick and choose your battles.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Pick and choose your battles. That can wait till 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, or that can, or this can't wait. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I honestly feel like we wouldn't be where we're at today if I left my phone in my truck at 5:30 at night. No. Like that just, I don't think a lot of business happens after hours. A lot of those big jobs that you were talking about probably didn't happen at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was, you know what I mean? A lot of emails back and forth, depending upon what coast they're on. Christ, it could be 9 o'clock here and 5 o'clock in California. Yeah. you know what I mean? It's just, that's
Right.
just the nature of the beast. And I think everybody's always looking, I think that the saying, work smarter, not harder. No, just fucking work.
Yeah.
You know, for real, like fuck work smarter, not harder. Like that's a cop out, bro. Like you're looking at that excuse. You know what I'm saying? That's all you're looking at. You're not even actually looking at the goal here. You're all hemmed up on the problems, the issues, and the excuses.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's good stuff.
That's just my opinion. I could be just
one of the nuggets off this podcast. If you think about it, if we just give the 10 minutes, it's true. You know, once you get some of that full undivided attention and you make them the most important thing, and they've received that, the kids, the lady, whatever's been going on, then they're off to what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And if you want to get real intentional, okay, Tuesday night's our night. We have date night. Sunday afternoons, or Sunday, you know, football season, we have Crock-Pot Sunday. Okay, so from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock, dude, I'm decompressing at that point in time, because we do need a rest, but be strategic about it. You know what I mean? There are times through the week that you can be a little strategic about it. You know what I mean? But this whole, I'm done at 5:30 at night and I'm going to leave my phone in the truck, man. I just don't.
Yeah, I can't do it, man.
I can't. I think I would have more anxiety from that. And I don't think I would ever get used to that.
A different cloth if you're an entrepreneur and you leave your phone in the truck at 5:30 at night.
Right. And honestly, man, for all we know, he probably has a team that doesn't leave their phone in the truck. You know what I mean? You know, me personally, I feel like Ty's at the point in this company that he probably could do that, because there's a good team around him that doesn't put their phone in the truck at night. You know what I mean? I make a conscious effort, and I know the other management people in this company make a conscious effort that when guys are out in the field working, I will answer my fucking phone. I can't, there's no way that I could put my head on a pillow at night knowing that my guys are out there at 8 o'clock at night bagging shingles by fucking headlamps sometimes to get a house through whatever, through quality checks or whatever. And they're trying to call me for a question, and I'm fucking sitting in my bed snacking, refusing to answer my phone. Man, I can't do that.
I feel the same way about you. If you need me,
I know that.
I'll always, I don't care if I'm in Mexico, Punta Cana, or Bermuda. I want to be available for our team, because I grew up in an industry with a company where I could never get a hold of the people that I needed to get a hold of. And it used to drive me freaking crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like even customers couldn't even get a hold of them, let alone I couldn't even get a hold of them. So it's like, I understand that, and I don't ever want to be that guy that is MIA half the time, out on his yacht or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm in the trenches. I'm a firm believer of be the first one here and the last one to leave. And things are taught, or things are caught, not taught. You know what I mean? People are watching, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So Jonathan, can you see the questions that we're pinning up on the screen?
Yeah, I see one right here. It says, question for Jonathan: what advice would you give to young men in their late teens and early 20s who are trying to find their way in life? That's a great question.
That is a good question. Good job, Ezra.
And a loaded question. So let's look at it from two different perspectives. One, just on a personal level, just from my experience and my 2 cents, you're going to make mistakes, and you have to forgive yourself. And when you're done forgiving yourself, you have to love yourself, because until you love yourself, you can't appropriately love anybody else. And the other part of it is, if you're talking about monetary and financial success, here's the thing about a young entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs try lots of different things. They fail a lot, but they find out what works, and they fail their way to success. So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So don't always sit on the pot. Make sure you're willing to take a shot at it, and always make sure you're forgiving yourself, you're learning from yourself, and you're loving yourself.
Boom.
Great
That's
answer.
a good one. Yeah, that's a great answer, man. We got another one here.
All right. For Jonathan, how hard was it to take the last reach for the doorknob, for the opportunity door, to finally pull himself up and make the change forward in life, trying not to keep taking the easy way out? You know, for me, I can only talk about what it was for me. I had to stop living on John's terms, and I had to start living on God's terms, because I couldn't get the damn door open to get out of it. And I tried over and over and over. And I'm not trying to be a fruit nut or flake and get religious or anything like that. I'm just telling you the brash tacks. I had to stop living on my own terms, and I had to stop playing God.
Yeah.
When I stopped doing that, whenever, you know, everybody has their higher power, if they have one, whatever, doesn't matter. But when I stopped doing that, and I stopped living on my terms, and I stopped being so damn selfish, and I started living on God's terms, then I was able to get through it. But until then, I was stuck in a big cycle of recidivism, and I hated myself.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, one of the biggest hard to swallow pills, man. There's a lot of hard to swallow pills out there. But I want to say one of the biggest hard to swallow pills out there is that everything that's happened in your life is your fucking fault. You know what I mean? And in some way or the other, man, you're the only person in your fucking way.
Yeah.
You know, you can try to blame it on everyone else. And listen, there's still sometimes that I take the easy way out too. And I try to put blame on somebody else for something that I fucking caused. Yeah. If I follow the path back far enough, there was some decision that I made at some point in time that caused me to be at this fucking road, this crossing on the road. And you're either going to go left or right, man.
Yeah.
It's your choice. So that hard to swallow pill sometimes is, you got to be honest with yourself. Like you said, Jonathan, it takes honesty in it. And that's hard, man. That's hard. It's really hard to look yourself in the mirror and be like, dude, this is your fault.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And you also got to realize that it's not too late to realize that. You know, there's never a time that it's like, oh, it's too late. You know, yeah, you might cause a lot of damage and be in the middle of a lot of shit that you got to get yourself up out of, but there is always a way out. There's always a ladder up, man.
No, I agree with you, because I look at it like this. We're all waiting in the same line to get our ticket punched.
For real.
When it is, right? So until your ticket's punched, you got time.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. That just made me think of something, how we're on borrowed time right now, and we got to make the best of it. And I truly feel like that I am on borrowed time, and that God has, and again, I'm not a Bible bumper either. But I do have a higher power in my life today, and I lean on him a lot, and I've seen his miracles work in my life. So I'm going to throw that out there. But anyhow, I honestly believe he's chosen me to be here to have an impact on people's lives. I feel like he's given me that 10th chance, that 10th opportunity to be here, and because he knows I have good qualities in me, and that my story can have an impact on somebody's life. Like, I feel like I've been chosen, and I feel like that who am I to take advantage or take for granted the borrowed time that I'm on? So I better make every single minute of that day worthwhile and have an impact on somebody's life.
Yeah. Yeah. Great point.
That's just kind of where I'm at today in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything, like I was talking about, like my dream here, this thing here, it has to be big enough for Chris's dream to fit in there. And my last huge dream was to have 401k for everybody. Why? Because that was his dream. Yeah. That was his dream, to be able to provide for his family. That's my dream today, not to line my pockets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't even really give a shit about money. That's just like a fucking, what is that? That's the residual effect of just trying to do the next right thing all the time.
Do the right thing
when nobody's looking.
Yes.
That's
yes. Yeah. What a great episode so far, man. Yeah. What a great episode. Jonathan, I love your story, man. I love your story. And I know there's so many people out there that story can speak to.
Fuck yeah.
You know, people that have come from that are in the same place that you are, and people that don't even realize that they can do that yet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's people out there that think, I ain't got nothing left. You know, no one wants me. No one wants, you know, it's not ever too late, man. And how many of us have come to roofing because we didn't have any other opportunity?
Half of us get there.
For real. And dude, we started this podcast saying that, you know, we want to make roofing sexy. We want to get away of the stigma of, you know, we're uneducated, we're fucking drug addicts, we're drunks, all that kind of shit. And it's like, dude, this industry is beautiful, man. This is a beautiful industry. I have also, Jonathan, met a lot of really good people in this industry, and not just good people in their personal lives, but people that are legitimately trying to change people's lives in the industry and change our industry for the better, for nothing, no personal gain, but just trying to be that person. I mean, look at Deshaun Bryant, man. Deshaun Bryant and David Taggart, they literally want to give things away just because they don't want people to go through the bullshit they had to go through in order to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
You know, for no personal gain. They just legitimately care about people and want people to not have to struggle for 5 years straight trying to figure the fucking thing out.
Yeah, and that list goes on. There's a lot of good people in our industry trying to make a difference, man. That was
for sure. Yeah, that was literally just the first two that I thought of that specifically mentioned, I want to make sure that people don't struggle trying to figure this thing out. You know what I mean? And
and Jonathan's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge impact on people's lives. All the people you don't even know you're impacting, bro. And that's the crazy, beautiful thing about this, that you're just trying to live your best life and impact as many people's lives as possible. And half the time you're probably not even really being intentional about that. You're just being you today.
Yeah.
You know, you're just an inspiration, bro. You know what I mean? And that's good shit right there. Live in that space. Don't ever lose that feeling. You know, that thought, that living pattern that you are in right now. Don't ever lose that.
Encouraging. I appreciate that, guys.
Yeah.
Very encouraging.
For real. All right. Well, man, this has been a great episode. We're just about at our 1 hour mark. Chris, do you want to ask him the golden question?
Yeah, dude. All right. So we ask this question to every guest that comes on here, man. You can answer it however you want. So with you being successful, man, and I always throw this in here because I feel like you're probably at a place that if you really wanted to, you could probably back down a little bit, take life easy, you know, live life. What motivates you to get up and not only just show up to work every day, but perform at a high level? What motivates you and what drives you?
The thing that motivates me now is I want to fulfill the plan, the purpose, and the destiny on my life. And I know that in order to do that, I don't want to have to look to anybody for resources to do it. I want to be completely able to bankroll it myself to do what it is that I want to do. And so that's my why.
Right on.
Awesome.
Children, my lady, the people around me, our What's Stopping You events. Like a great example, like our What's Stopping You events that we do, they're completely free. My conference costs nothing because I really wanted people to know that it was really about helping them and that there was not a money grab and it had no ticket price on it. So it's absolutely free. And that's because we're able to do enough in the industry where we can bankroll the stuff that we want to do.
Wow.
So it's just becoming the man that I'm called to be.
That's great shit.
That's a great answer, man.
So
in the hospital bed, and it was my last stage here, and I woulda, coulda, shoulda, but I just never got free, and I just never got done. Then my life made no sense, and I would be fucking miserable. So it's just fulfilling my purpose.
Right on, homie.
Yeah.
Right on. And I believe that. I believe every word you just said, man. I love it. That's good shit, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, we didn't talk much about roofing, but it was fun.
Yeah. Hey. It was all about roofing, homie. Know that.
It was all about roofing. When you think about it. Man, but yeah, it was fun. This is awesome. This has been one of my favorite podcasts. I always like when it's real. You know?
Yes.
We can talk about first roofing and Denver Broncos football, I'm blue in the face, right? Because that's just my thing. But when you start talking about real stuff and you have a real conversation, it's just great.
Yeah. This is important to do, man. You know, we figured out, we first started doing this podcast trying to, you know, promote TC Backer and, you know, gain customers and all that kind of shit. But we quickly realized, man, that we were on to something by bringing guests on and like, not just figuring out what Jonathan does and trying to, you know, sell his business, you know, cause he does a pretty good job at that himself, but what motivates people? Who are the people behind the industry? You know, what do they like to do on their free time? You know, what are their interests? You know, let's really get to know the human beings that are running this industry, man, because dude, this industry is fucking beautiful, man. And it's done so much for me already in my short time. I mean, I've been roofing for, I don't know, 15 years now, something like that. But I haven't really been in the industry, you know what I mean? Until I came here and like, dude, just a little amount that I've gotten out of it in the 4 or 5 years that I've been here, I can only imagine 20 years from now what the fuck this thing's going to be, man. Because we're at a place right now, man, that we got a lot of great leaders in our industry that just want to help people, man. And let's get to know them. Let's get to know what they do so that when somebody, a potential client wants to do business with Jonathan, well, guess what? They can go check him out on Behind the Toolbelt and see who Jonathan is. Right. You know what I mean? Let's see the person behind them and see who I'm about to do business with. We got 136 episodes that anyone can look at any point in time. If a homeowner wants to do business with us, guess what? Hop on one of our podcasts and you'll see exactly who the fuck you're going to do business with. You'll know where our money goes to. You'll see all the community.
36 episodes, man, y'all. Hats off. That's an achievement. That's consistency.
Yeah. And we haven't missed 1 week. Like we didn't go without doing one week. Dude, we were in floods, power outages, plugging the fucking generator in quick. You know what I mean? Like it's been crazy,
man.
To smash this thing in the mouth like we have. We love it. It's our little garage band, bro.
Yeah.
I love it. 136 episodes. That's a lot. And this a week. That's actually, you know what's cool about it is the action that you guys are putting behind it. Because think about only you can roll that tape on the 136 episodes, and there's probably a few you can think of right away that were great episodes.
Absolutely.
Those people that heard that, just like that guy that heard my podcast, you don't have a clue how many lives you touched because you were just obedient. You were obedient to keep doing the show. Oh, some shit would come up. It's easy to be like, oh, I'm tired this week. We don't got no power. Oh, let's go get a bite to eat. It's just 1 week. Oh, it's just 1 week. We'll redo it and not do it live, but you did it.
Mm-hmm.
And you were obedient to it. And so there's lots, just like you were saying to me, it's the same thing for you. Just in the obedience, I guarantee there's all kind of people that have heard your show that you changed their life.
Probably, man.
Probably more than what we think, man.
Yeah,
we're blown away by it all the time, man. By just random people. We're down in Orlando at RoofCon last year, man. Before we really even thought that this show was really anything that people watched in the industry, and just some random dude came walking up and was like, "Hey, I watch you guys," and it's like,
really?
You watch us?
Like, for real? Knew us. They knew us.
Like, we're 1,200 miles away from where we do this damn podcast. What the fuck you mean you watch us?
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's cool, dude.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Thank you so much, man. Thank
Jonathan,
you for what you do.
Yeah, I would love to have him on the show again at some point in time, man. I would love to get you back on here and rap again, man, because this was really enjoyable. This hour flew by.
Count me in and tell me when you guys are ready, and we'll do it.
All right.
Excellent, man.
We'll
Excellent. TC Backer family. Jonathan, how can someone get a hold of you? Do you got a Facebook? Do you want to plug real quick?
Sure, absolutely. It's really easy to find me on Facebook, just my name, Instagram, just my name, LinkedIn, just my name, and they can go to roofershelpingroofers.net and you can see everything that we talked about.
Awesome. TC Backer family, make sure you guys go give him a follow, give him a like, man. He's got a great story. This was an awesome episode. He's doing great things in the industry, man. And what I want to point out to all the viewers, if you guys have watched all of our episodes, man, we got 136 episodes, and there's a pattern here. There's a pattern that you hear all these people say, man. Show the fuck up, be a good person, put the work in, and the fucking money will come.
There you go.
Plain and simple. That's the pattern. So there is no secret. The secret is hard work.
Amen.
Plain and simple. So with that said, man, make sure everyone watching, hop over to the Behind the Toolbelt YouTube page. We're still kind of low on the subscribers. Make sure you guys follow us on YouTube, because that helps our algorithms. If you have not liked the TC Backer page and the Behind the Toolbelt page, make sure you guys go onto Facebook and like that as well, because that will allow the algorithms to put us in front of people that aren't necessarily friends with us. And so we can just spread our wings and help more people, man. That's all we're trying to do is just help people. We don't get paid for this shit. There's no monetary gain behind this whatsoever. It's just strictly just trying to help people. So if you guys have not done so, please do that. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their week, man. Thank you, Jonathan, for your time. We appreciate you. And we will see everyone next Wednesday, 7 p.m. for episode 137. Everyone have a great week.